Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. I'm your host, Azzy. With me as always is my friend Roy, and today we are talking about the Black Widow movie. Something that should have come out 8 years ago, if not more.
Pretty much. Too little, too late. But
That's kind of the feeling that you come away with. But the big thing is that I enjoyed it way more than I was expecting to. I was expecting this to be like Marvel's first big crash and burn since like Age of Ultron. Uh, but if you
yeah,
haven't seen the movie, we are definitely going to be going over some spoilers. So go ahead and step out real quick, watch it, come on back, hear what us goofballs had to say about it. Otherwise, this is your spoiler warning.
now
Anyway,
first of all, I
this
want to give a big shout out for the intro, like the opening titles, because I was like when I was watching it with y'all, and I was like, all right, here we go, get this bullshit ass movie. I wasn't in this movie until the Smells Like Teen Spirit cover came on for the whole title sequence.
yes.
I was like,
Yeah, that was
okay.
really good.
I was like, okay. I'm actually down to watch this now. Okay, you got me
Yeah.
hooked. But go ahead. What were you saying?
So this is the first movie. This is the first solo film starring Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff. Uh, Taking place roughly after Captain America: Civil War, where Natasha is on the run from General Ross after betraying the U.S. government and allowing Cap to betraying the U.S. government and assaulting the the King of Wakanda by
Ooh.
allowing Cap and Bucky to escape. Uh, Natasha finds herself secluded in Switzerland, trying to essentially move on and step away from the entire Avengers situation as she felt like it was over, only to receive a package from one of her old safe houses, a care package of the things that were left behind, including something that she didn't necessarily recognize. When the power goes out on her camper and she drives into town to get gas, she's assaulted over this mysterious object that was in her care, and it pulls Natasha back into a world that she thought she left behind, as well as the specter of an enemy that she had thought she took care of. This introduces a bunch of characters that honestly steal the show, including and especially Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, the only
Yeah.
other character apart from Natasha that gets a
Yeah.
gets a last name.
Yeah. So
Um,
hold on. Before you move on, because at this point, we talk about Florence. She really did steal this. She stole the movie. As far as I'm concerned, she stole the whole
oh
fucking movie.
yeah,
I'll say, of course, she had that one scene with Black Widow at the end, banging her head up against the table. But other than that, this was like to me, the whole Black Widow title meant the Black Widows, not just Natasha Romanoff at this point. So,
that's actually probably one of the sadder parts about this movie. Like I said from the jump, I enjoyed this movie way more than I was expecting because based on early reviews, I was going into it assuming the worst. Uh, but it didn't do well enough to make this feel like Natasha's movie. Yet again, in this movie, we get continued references to Budapest and whatever Natasha and Hawkeye uh, did there. But you would think this movie might have been that. I've also seen criticisms. We got to see a darker moment in Natasha's past, like the inciting act that allowed her to defect the Shield from the Red Room and the Black Widow program was that she had um, attempted to kill the man behind the Red Room and used his daughter as a means of knowing where he was and bombed the building or imploded the building in order to attempt to kill him. But it meant also murdering his like 7-year-old daughter in the process. Uh, I kind of felt like I wanted to see the lead up to that, and it gets touched on, and it's something obviously that she regrets or that she feels very self conscious about. But uh, it just felt like it kept dancing around cool things I would have liked to see Black Widow involved in or what Black Widow was
oh
doing.
yeah, I
But
mean,
still,
like I agree with you on that. like the first half of this movie was dark, which it was on the same level as Winter Soldier. It was pretty much grounded to reality, but it was fun. Like when Taskmaster attacks Natasha on the bridge. After that, it was more of a comedy. So yeah, it's pretty much comedy after the first act, and then when we finally start meeting all the other characters, and so I swear to God, I thought I don't remember the name of the intro, but I thought it was gonna be like everywhere you look, like they were getting all family bonding. And I was
Full
like,
House?
but yeah, Full House. There you go.
No, I mean, hold up. The comedy I thought was the comedy was actually on point. I loved how Yelena, um, Florence Pugh's character kept ripping on Natasha
Such
and
a
some of like the
poser.
tropes that so many of the tropes that followed her throughout the MCU. Uh, but something I feel like was very intrinsic to this movie was the brutality of the combat. Like when Natasha and Yelena first meet, it like that was brutal. Uh like they were like oh no, they were pulling out knives, they were choking each other with sheets, they were throwing each other like through like door frames and shit. It was
Only to find out to be like, hey,
intense.
you're not under body control. Like, oh, so this whole fight was unnecessary.
Oh, I mean, neither one of them at that point trusted each other. They hadn't seen each other for years. And from Yelena's point of view, Natasha abandoned her uh, to go off and be a hero.
I'll tell
But
okay, I'll tell you why this was more of a comedy, because I blame Wayne. Him and his comedy comments throughout the whole movie had made that more of a comedy. It was like every time, like, okay, let's not even beat around the bush. Clearly, the cinematography, specific shots of Scarlett Johansson's butt in this movie are
yeah,
ridiculous, unnecessary. I mean, god damn,
yeah,
we know
it's unnecessary.
we know she's hot. I'll say
Yeah,
I knew she was hot when they first introduced her in Iron Man 2. That's why Tony was like, I need one of them. It's like, yeah, we
yeah,
know. Yeah,
yeah.
I want one. I want one.
Uh, but not like not just Florence Pugh. You also had a great return of Rachel Weisz, which I haven't seen in a very long time. Uh, Loved her in the Mummy franchise.
The
Great to see her back in this
Mummy,
one.
Constantine. You know
Yes.
what about Constantine?
I mean, I loved her in Constantine too, man. I love me some Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And another person who oftentimes gets accused of stealing the show in this movie, David Harper as Alexi for Red Guardian. He went from being in the beginning of the movie when it was their past when they're posing as a family in America. He went from being kind of normal to going batshit crazy as he like spent years in prison for no reason, putting on weight and breaking people's wrists.
Oh, that hurts.
No, but he's actually like yeah, that specific scene. He's regaling about his like he's the kind of character who's affected. He was the Russian Captain America. He had super soldier serum. He had all that stuff. He even had a fully red costume with a red shield to be a counter to Captain America. Um, and in the course of it, he's taking advantage of his super soldier serum by arm wrestling a bunch of these guys in the mess hall in the Russian prison that he was being held in, and he's regaling his glory days, talking about fighting Captain America in the 80s. To which one guy, especially large man, challenged him on his logic, saying Captain America was still on the ice. He hadn't been let go then. So now you have people thinking, well, Alexi is kind of dumb, but not so entirely dumb. But not in the case that he would just outright lie. So perhaps he did fight someone that was Captain America adjacent, and Alexi just stupidly thought that he was fighting Captain America. So now it's like, who was Alexi fighting in the 80s that he thought was Captain America?
Who
I'm
knows?
curious. I mean, like, I'm actually really interested in that. But David Harbour was great. I thought he had a lot of great comedic moments. Like I loved the fact that after they rescued him. Also, let's just like Man of Steel this and ignore the fact that Yelena accidentally causes an avalanche that probably killed everybody in that prison.
Oops.
But I love the whole like they picked him up because it's kind of like they were trying to get information because Natasha finds out that the Red Room still exists and the man behind it survived her attempt to assassinate him. So Yelena pulls her in and they agree to try to hunt him down and destroy the Red Room. And they figured the one person who might know who he is the guy who was so buddy with him, Alexi, Red Guardian. And turns out Princess is in another castle. Alexi doesn't know where he is, but he knows Rachel Weisz's character, Melina. So he's like, okay, she's here. He's like, well, we're gonna have to stop somewhere to get gas. He's like, nah, we'll make it in that kind of like dad sort of way.
We'll make
it's
it.
like, oh, we'll make it. Deadpan, so you see like this picture of like a field, and then off screen the helicopter just comes straight in. I died. That was so fucking funny.
I say normally that follows up with explosion, but in this case,
no, there was. I mean, you have to. It's a superhero movie, so you always come in with a certain level of suspension of disbelief. But I have to admit, even I was feeling a bit challenged to suspend my disbelief when there were so many moments where it's like, how are they coming out of that barely scratched? Like when Yelena and Natasha are first getting away in that car, and then it gets flipped by Taskmaster, slides down into the subway system, and it's like, thank goodness the frame of that car was so powerful that it didn't crush when it flipped over. All right.
I don't know. But
hey, Yelena was bleeding, so that counts.
I mean, like even the beginning where they Natasha was fighting Taskmaster on the bridge and she's just fucking getting kicked the shit out of her. Like literally like one fucking curb stomp away from death. Gets up like it's nothing. I don't know why why she's so special. She ain't got no super serum.
True. But I do like how when Taskmaster first ambushes her on the bridge, she's pissed off. It's like, maybe somebody didn't tell you that I'm a better aim when I'm pissed off. It's like, I like that. Go ahead. I like that bit of spunk because oftentimes you see Natasha when she's juxtaposed against the other men in the Avengers, she tends to have to be the calm one. But since you brought them up, I can understand a lot of people being disappointed with Taskmaster.
Oh yeah.
And the best comparison I've seen people make of them is Deadpool from the Wolverine movie.
Oh God, I mean, this wasn't bad. It was just it was predictable. You knew who it was gonna be. It's like, okay, we haven't had like, well, who the fuck would have been? Who the fuck would have been? Who would have been in that suit? Who would have else been in that suit?
Not going in, because going in, there were a lot of fan theories as to who Taskmaster was. There was a lot of people who had plausible theories that it was going to be Melina, Rachel Weisz's character, of which juxtaposed it though. When we got the bit of information that made us all realize who Taskmaster was going to be, which not everybody in the room got it. I think it was you, me, and Kevin at the time.
Yeah, because I straight up said it. I was like, "Oh, it's the daughter."
Yeah, no, but juxtapose that with the twist at the end with the mask.
Okay, yeah.
Like
okay,
all the times,
that got
all
me.
the times we've seen. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like that's one of the moments that I was really, because I was lulled into believing what I could see, despite the fact that this is a trick that Natasha's used before. It's just like I didn't fucking think about it. I was quick to buy the idea that Melina would betray them all because she was the scientist and she's all about the science, and she almost choked out a pig. I was like, oh, it's fine. Alexi could last for 12 more seconds. But I loved that twist. That was great. I loved her coming out of the cell, and this is what I'm talking about, how like David Harper, it was David Harper and Florence Pugh that really stole this movie, because and now I finally get it. There were people that made complaints that they felt the movie undercut its emotional moments with comedy, uh, and they wanted more of these moments to breathe. And while I was struggling to figure out what they meant up until this one scene, after the twist is made and it's revealed that Melina and Natasha had swapped places in order to infiltrate the new Red Room, which is a floating fortress that hides itself in the clouds, looks like a freaking uh a giant snowflake or something. Uh
A dreidel.
or um when that happens, uh the person we believe to be Natasha and Alexi are each in a cell. And Alexi is taking this moment to try and give Natasha a heartfelt apology. Only for the door to open as his face is on it, smearing like oil on the glass as he's falling through. He's like, "How'd you do that?" It's, "I made these cells," and it's revealed to be Melina. It's revealed to be Rachel Weisz. He's like, "I just poured out my heart." So then Rachel Weisz contacts Yelena, say, "Yelena, it's mommy. You have a blade in your side. You can go ahead and escape now." And then Red Guardian, Alexi, then
Oh,
assumes
see, yes.
he also has an earpiece, so he starts trying to reiterate his apology for all the things he's done to these two girls. And she goes, "Oh no, see, I only had two sets, so you don't have one."
I mean, that doesn't
I
address
thought it was hilarious.
that doesn't address the shit in Avengers when they were just like, hey, they all
Yeah,
apparently had communicators or
yeah.
whatever.
No, but the thing is that like I can only assume that people were upset because Alexi didn't get to have his emotional moment where he tries to reconcile with his effective pseudo daughters. But the thing is that like what I got out of it is that um for failing to protect them, for allowing them to be taken off into the Red Room and robbing them, and effectively being one of the main perpetrators that robbed them of their childhood. Uh, you can't just write that off with some apology. So the notion that he kept getting denied his chance to actually apologize rather than to show that he cares about them through action, I thought that was the message. That you can't just write off years of neglect and the horrible decision that you made with a heartfelt apology. That's not enough. Uh, so I was freaking fine with that. Like I didn't think I didn't think that was undercutting the emotional moment. I think there were two really great. I think there were like two or three really great emotional moments that weren't undercut by a comedy. Like when Yelena's when they're having that like pseudo family gathering at the dinner table sort of thing. You had comedy at the beginning, but then as emotions started rising, and we already saw Yelena getting upset when Natasha drops the notion that they aren't actually sisters. Then you see her break down, and it's like, don't talk like that. You were my sister. You were my father. You were my mother. You guys were the only ones I had. And to find out that it was all a lie or that it was
It was
all
real to
fake,
me.
like, yes, Florence Pugh sold that shit.
It was
Oh
real to
my
me.
god!
Like, yeah,
And then,
you
no,
good?
go ahead.
No, I just
Uh,
loved it. That was like the scene that like really made me like that character. I was like, yeah, okay, she like say she's more connected with these people that she doesn't really know.
yeah.
Like you were saying, and it's weird because Natasha, you know, like the whole throughout all Avengers, all the times you've seen her, this has never been mentioned at all. Not even after even this place and taking place right after Civil War, and not hearing about this in Infinity War or Endgame. Amazing to me.
Think of the kind of foils that Yelena Belova and Natasha Romanoff kind of become at that point. Natasha only really showed her emotional side after losing everything um, in Avengers Endgame. That was when we saw Natasha really at her most emotional, really at her most needing to connect with the people, the found family that she had. And also, Natasha has been very adamant about trying to be less vicious, less bloody, less violent, and more worried about you know the morality of everything that she's doing. Where then you have Yelena Belova, who doesn't worry about the morality of everything in the moment. Like she had no problem stealing this one guy's car, or whatever, or shooting the rocket at the guys that are firing on them, even though it caused an avalanche and shit. But she is more into. But despite going through the red room, she's still more in touch with her emotions, and willing to express them than Natasha was only up until the end. I thought that was really cool. Now we had the comedy in the beginning, then we had that really great emotional moment, and then while Melina and Natasha were left to have their discussion, and that's where we get the serious that's where we get the serious conversations, and then like Natasha rubbing proving Melina a hypocrite by finding the picture book that Natasha tried to grab when they were escaping America at the beginning of the movie. It turns out Melina went back to get it, despite the fact that at that time she told Natasha to leave it behind. And then it's juxtaposed with the conversation between Alexi and Elena, where rather than actually trying to comfort her, he's going off on one of his random ass stories about when he fighting his dad pissed on his hands. But then we get that nice tender moment where Yelena challenges him by saying, "It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about anything you say. You said nonstop that we were nothing but a burden to you, and we kept you from your glory days and whatnot. You didn't actually care. You don't remember anything." And then slowly but surely, and for a moment, you don't
long time ago. This will be the day that I die.
Yeah. For a moment, you think that he's just gonna go off on another one of his random tangents, but then he's slowly but surely, in his thick, I'm not the judge of a good Russian accent, but whatever. He starts singing Miss American Pie, which was Yelena's song from the beginning of the movie. That was the one she always wanted played on the radio. That too was a tender moment. If you want to say that was cut short because they were ambushed, fine. I still got all the emotional impact out of it I wanted, and the joke afterwards where they tried to dart Red Guardian, and he goes from one dart to like 62.
It's like, you need more than that. Got lit up.
It reminded me of that moment where it was like where it was the Thor Ragnarok. Or no, it was the first Thor movie where it's like, you think to take on me?
Oh, and
Thor, son of Odin, was so puny up. Now, for me though, the one thing that kind of pulled me out of it was that I didn't feel like Black Widow was in danger. Because this movie is a prequel. I mean, it's like it.
See,
that's the biggest crime of the movie. It should have come out chronologically, and waiting this long, we only have one person to blame. The former head of Marvel Studios, who determined that nobody wants to see a female-led Marvel movie, and the deciding factor for him was Elektra, which came out when?
I can't even tell you. That had to been like, I'm gonna guess 2009. Let's see.
I'm looking. Elektra came out 2005.
Oh god, damn.
Long before the MCU was a thing. What was his name? His name Bob Iger, the guy, the former head of Marvel Studios?
I don't know, but either way, yeah, I would about say, as far, god dang it, can't get back down here. Yeah, this movie should have been released pretty much right after Civil War.
Yep.
Or what came after Civil War? Was it automatically Avengers Endgame? No, Infinity War?
No.
Civil War, or was it like a whole bunch of Guardians, Doctor Strange, or something like that? Either way, it could have fit in between that up until Infinity War, because the whole time you're probably watching it, if you have already seen Endgame, the looming shadow that's going to be cast over your head watching this is, Black Widow dies. So nothing's bad gonna happen unless plot twist. There's a clone, but there's not. So glad we didn't have to run into that. But like I said, I fairly enjoyed it. I didn't care for
Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Anywhere you could have fit this movie in there.
Those are the ones that came out directly after Civil War. But Black Widow should have been the first movie after Civil War.
Yeah. So granted, and the main villain, Dreykov, I think. What is his name? Dreykov?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't care for him. Like, it was just a random. It was like just a random dude that's like, yo, I got these powers, I can say whatever I want, and apparently you just do it. But when we finally get to that confrontation at the end with her facing him, it's like, oh, he has this neurotoxin thing that he had a
pheromone lock, which is very like spy pseudoscience-y sort of thing, and I was fine with that. I was fine with him because he's like, he wasn't supposed to be this three-dimensional character. He was just supposed to be evil, and that's what he satisfied his role. This is another example of Marvel not creating a villain that's supposed to be well-rounded or three-dimensional. This is a villain that's meant to be an obstacle for the hero, and I was fine with that. Especially because I mean, the reason why I was okay with it was because we kept flashing back to Natashas' conversation with Melina after the twist, and realizing that this is all going according to plan. Like,
maybe she was part of the TVA.
Natasha was never surprised. And what we get out of this movie by the end of it is that while it introduces a ton of characters that I really like and would like to see more of, but without the connective tissue of Natasha, it just kind of makes it go like, well, how would we ever see these characters again? Like, how would we see Red Guardian or Melina again? Like, you bring Rachel. How would you bring Rachel Weisz back?
She ain't coming back. She ain't coming
back. The Avengers really need her pigs.
She might be like a cameo character if she was to come back, but other than that, I don't think she's gonna be playing any big roles.
There is a Russian super team that includes a mutant named Ursa Major. His name is Ursa Major, and his mutant ability is that he's like a werebear. He doesn't have a human form anymore. He is just a giant bear with the brain of a human. Like, he was human at one point till his X gene, and then he became a giant bear. And he is a massive alcoholic and spends all his time drinking vodka and having violent fits. But I'm just saying, like, that's a possibility, I guess. But it's like, it introduces me to this like menu of characters that I would like to see more of, that I'm probably not going to see any of. I can't imagine where they'd come up.
Well, I mean, there's
for
that
a tease.
Yeah, the after credits scene you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the tease where we see Elena and she's visiting Natasha's grave, and through the movie they had illustrated this sibling quirk that they had, where they would find each other by whistling. And you have the grave whistling, and like in the back of your mind's like,
if I hear that whistle,
you're not going to give us a reply. I know you're not. And then
sad.
You got Viv showing up in order to get because apparently Yelena is a member of possibly the Dark Avengers, possibly the Thunderbolts, and she has a new mission to hunt down the man who killed her sister, and it's Hawkeye. Which reminds everybody, it's like, oh yeah, there's a Hawkeye series coming soon.
Well, other than that, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. Is it the best of the MCU? Clearly not. It's in the, I want to say it's that low. Like, I won't go as far as maybe in the middle. I mean, if grade wise, I give this a 7 out of 10 because, like I said, it's just, you just released it too late. If this
grade wise, I give
Go back in time, send this shit out right after Civil War.
Grade wise, I give this Iron Man 2. Nah, that sounds too harsh. I would basically give it a 7 as well. It's like it's not a bad movie by any stretch of the word. The action's great, the comedy's great, the acting is superb. It's just wrong place, wrong time. It's too little, too late, like we said at the top.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we have What If to look forward to. We got What If, and we got Shang-Chi. Everything is looking up from here. Like this was the unknown quantity. That it was the bomb that everybody was waiting to go off. It's like
I mean, this is the introduction.
Okay.
This is the introduction of Phase 4.
Yep.
Not a slow start. So we probably might get something with Shang-Chi, Eternals.
And we have What If up next.
Yeah, we have What If. I feel like What If. I want to say it's just gonna be the alternate timeline shit of what things are gonna happen. And I don't know, is Doctor Strange the main character for that?
I know.
Yeah, but I see a whole lot of Doctor Strange stuff. So as far as I can tell, it might not even connect MCU the universe. It's just little side stories right here. This
no. Did you see that? I sent you a TikTok. Where WandaVision and Loki sync up perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That was intended.
That was
intended.
That was good. So yeah, even after What If, we still got Miss Marvel. That's supposedly supposed to come out this year too.
Oh yeah. Oh.
If it does, I mean, I'm not going to complain if it does. I mean,
we still haven't seen a trailer, but Spider-Man is supposed to come out in December, ain't it?
It's stuck in that trailer is stuck in another damn time loop thing. The trailer got lost and deviated outside its timeline, and nobody knows where the trailer is.
Basically.
So, I mean, hopefully we can get a trailer sometime next month. You got
yeah, definitely.
You got 3 more months to go.
Yeah, something like that. But nonetheless, what did you think about Black Widow? Did you like it? What did you think about it? Drop a comment down below. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all the things we say at the end of these videos. We'll see you on the next one. I've been Azzy, that's been Roy. See you later. Peace.
Deuces.
With the arm and the hair, and you do like a fighting pose. It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
I'm not a poser.